try to sit very still in these long pauses so that I look the same when Philip makes the edit.
I appreciate that. Here we go.
I really regret having my hand against my face in this moment.
Hello and welcome to Khyber Shards, a 5th edition actual play show set in the Eberron campaign world. Colin, what happened last time?
We saved the day and went home.
Right, yeah, totally.
No, he didn't fall for it, y'all. We figured out where to go after having a very straightforward and productive conversation with our new friend Thistle, who guided us through a portal in the Feywild to go meet the queen, and Shade met her heroine, and we were set about our new journey in an effort to save River. We have to claim a weapon from the Green Knight, and so that's what we're off to do, or we won't be able to kill the Jabberwock and get to the Laughing Lord. So we got things to do.
It's true.
That's what we got given to us last time.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Yes, you are off to find the Green Knight, who obviously lives at the Green Chapel, as Thistle informed you.
Mm-hmm.
So you are trudging through the twilight woods of the Feywild, with Thistle fluttering a few paces ahead of you. Pausing every now and again, her head swivels back and forth as she considers, and then on through the mostly trackless woods.
You do know for sure where we're going, right? This isn't like going to the Queen where it's pretty sure.
Yes.
Shade, I don't like how much thinking she did right there.
Yeah, no, she paused for a really long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe it's because she's so confident. She just had to make sure, and then she confirmed in her head, yes.
I really like your optometry on this, but I don't think that it's that.
Oh. Yeah, but I don't think we really have other options.
No. How far is it, Thistle? Are we a long ways?
Oh, it's over yonder.
In hours, how many of them do you think it would take?
What's that?
Oh, yeah. Mm.
Hey, while we're going to yonder, what if you tell us everything you know about the Green Knight?
Okay. He's...
The Green Knight.
The Green Knight.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Is a mighty champion of the Feywild. It fought many great creatures and many heroes.
What if you're not a hero or a great creature?
Maybe you still fight the Green Knight? I don't know.
When the Green Knight has been defeated, how did that happen?
I don't know. They're still there.
Like
That's a good point, Thistle. Yep. If they had been defeated, they wouldn't be there anymore.
Oh. I don't know if that's true.
no, because the Green Knight's in the story. It's his story
Green
to
Chapel's
be beaten.
a story.
Right. Who?
Right. Because things don't work the same here, right?
Do you know who else has fought the Green Knight? Any of the characters that you can think of?
There was a knight from the Summerlands.
How did that go?
The Green Knight went to his castle and challenged him.
Oh.
And they fought.
Uh-huh.
And then the knight went home chastened, but alive. And the Green Knight is still there.
Hey, Pog, is that helpful information?
Not
to
even
us?
a little bit, unless we were trying to get more concerned.
Yeah.
Because that made me that way.
Great.
Oh, here we go.
I'm not enough. Oh, we got to yonder.
Yeah, we always get to yonder. Thistle points with one tiny hand, and there are, just ahead of you, the trees separate a little bit, and there are just two standing stones carved with runes. It's just between those.
We walk between those, and we'll go there.
Then you'll be at the Green Chapel.
Okay. And on the other side, is there two big stones that look like this, and we walk and we get back here?
I don't know. I've never been there.
So how do you know what'll happen when we go between those two stones?
Because that's where the Green Chapel is. And the Green Knight lives at the Green Chapel. Says the stories.
Do you want to come with us?
Sure. Do you want me to?
So much.
Okay.
Oh.
So much.
My wings are getting tired. Can I ride on Cal?
Oh, you would have to ask Cal that.
Oh, okay. She flutters down, and speaking in Sylvan, asks Cal for permission to rest on his back. And then, presuming Cal is willing to, she flutters over and nestles herself amid the ridge of feathers that flow back onto his shoulders.
Are you telling me there's a fairy riding a peacock panther right now?
Yes. Yeah. And for some reason, it's like all of my patience just rolled back into me. Maybe not Pog, but Colin over here is all of a sudden just wanting to stay in this moment. This is the thing that Shade and Pog would just sit and watch. Like, are you kidding me? Ugh.
Yes, it is. Yep. That is very cool. Hey, Pog, you, how are you feeling? Because you don't look so great.
Then I feel how I look.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not great. He hit me with all of his teeth back there. So,
yeah, no, that was unpleasant. Can I heal you? Would that be okay?
Yes. And thank you.
Well, I only heal you for 13 points.
Hey, better than where I'm at. He does not rescind his thank you. And it's an action. Can I take a deep breath here for a healing surge?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Do you feel all of the better now?
We're looking okay. Not all of the better, but we're better. It'll take a little longer to die. So let's go get a snack. And walk towards the two stones. Ideally side by side with Shade if she's not trying to leave. We are in the woods and the Feywild, so like not feeling the most gung-ho right now.
All right. The two of you walk side by side between the stones. And as you step out the other side of the stones, you're somewhere else. You're in a clearing. The air and sky are more like what you're used to in your world, but overcast and dreary. There are trees of not necessarily recognizable types, but they look more like trees in your world. Shade, you would probably feel the most familiar with this. They look like the really, really gigantic ancient trees of the Eldine Reaches where you grew up.
Nice.
And just a little ways ahead, you can see that there is a clearing and a little hollow in the land just ahead of you.
Let's go that way.
Seems the only right choice.
As you come out into the clearing, you can see that you're standing on the lip of a dell, a little hollow in the land, and at the base of it, there's a flat space where there is a ring of standing stones with a single large stone slab in the center, lying on the ground. And just outside the ring, on the side towards you, there is a huge, strange tree, roots curling and twisting through the ground along the edges of the ring, branches rising high and spreading into the sky, and in the branches hang heads.
Oh. Huh. You took a sharp left turn there with your word picture. I don't know what I expected to happen at this place we know has a fight coming. Wow. Okay. Well, I think we're probably almost there. Hog takes his axe out.
I was thinking I would talk to the tree, but then when I looked up and saw the heads, I don't know that I want to anymore.
Well, do you think the tree likes being full of heads?
I don't know, but
Because if it
wouldn't
does,
be awful if it does?
it would be terrible. But if it doesn't, it might like the people who keep it from getting more heads for a little while. Maybe if we're on the no heads in the tree team, he might like us more. I don't know.
No, that makes sense.
Plants are super your thing, so your call is the right one.
I mean, very recently, not for a long time.
Yeah, never for me. So you still super win this.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's true. Maybe it doesn't like heads up in its branches. We should ask it. Speak swift plants, Philip.
Okay. Boy.
How does a tree feel about?
Feel like you asked for this.
Oh no.
All the heads open their eyes.
Oh no. I don't know what to do about that.
Same.
Greetings, say a lot of voices all at once.
Hello.
Hi. I haven't seen that before. Were you all killed by the Green Knight?
They were.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're the tree. You're not the decorations.
I am the hanging tree.
Gross.
Do you know how to defeat the Green Knight?
That is not my part in this story.
No. Are you okay being used to display heads?
This is what I am. I am the hanging tree.
Yep. Pog, do you have anything?
Nope. I am no longer an optometrist. These things aren't going to be good. And stays looking straight down, not looking up at the heads.
Well, you aren't particularly helpful and quite frankly terrifying. Could you point indicate do you know someone that would be more helpful than you?
I think it likely we will have many, many lifetimes to grow to know one another.
So you think we're gonna not that we're gonna survive.
That was the worst answer we could have gotten.
Yep.
There is no other here save me and the night.
And which way is the night?
Hearken to the shield. And you observe that hanging in one of the lower branches, there is a large green painted shield with something written on it.
Is it like under the tree all the way? Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. I don't know that I'm thankful for it. Well, you answered our questions. Yeah, that's I hope never to talk to you again in the nicest way possible.
If this is what you want, then you're doing great.
Yep.
Just really good. Shade, the shield is over there. I don't know how to hearken, but I think we should look at the the shield.
No, that makes sense.
Okay.
That makes sense to me.
And Pog walks to the shield.
There are curving runes written on this round shield, but as you look at them, they resolve into letters you can read. And it says,
Oh boy.
"A blow struck me is a challenge made, and all oaths sworn here are surely paid. From life to death and back again, the wheel turns ever round. The seeds of victory are sown with knees bent to the ground."
Well, are you ready to meet the Green Knight?
I don't know. What does that mean?
Time for a story.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to meet the Green Knight. I feel very underprepared for this.
I think we're just going to stay that way.
Okay.
And Pog puts his hand on her shoulder. Think about River. And Pog turns solemnly back to the shield.
Could be with a Bandersnatch.
Gets his face very close to it and goes, I thought I knew what it said with the blow, and
No, that makes sense.
and then he
Maybe
punches
the
it
part,
and says, "This doesn't work."
There is a long, low, reverberating that shakes through the ground. The leaves on the tree quiver. And
So does Pog.
then you hear a heavy thump, 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 thump. And looking up at the top of the dell, there is a humanoid figure in shape, but greater in size, armored seemingly in leaves and wood and moss. Its face is hidden behind a helm shaped like some animal's skull. And held in its hands is a sheathed greatsword that looks ancient and deadly. And the figure begins to tread slowly down the slope toward the ring of stones. Also, you have inspiration for blowing on the shield.
Well, found him, and Pog starts walking towards the...
Yeah.
I assume we're not in the center of the ring. We're just...
Not while you're under the tree, you are not.
Head closer towards, but not direct. Still kind of favoring the side opposite him, but closer to the center.
Okay. The knight comes to stand in the midst of the ring and turns toward you as you approach. And a low voice that almost seems like it comes out of the ground at your feet says, "What foe shall exchange blows with me?"
Pog and Shade.
Shade.
If we have to. We don't super want to fight you, just for the record. It's not really our deal. But we need
foe shall exchange blows with me today?
I don't.
Oh, it's
Pog. It's
Yep.
It's one.
That's the yes. Huh.
Okay. Well,
we probably should have predicted this.
Why?
Because it's the worst.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Well, I think you are stronger, but I think I feel better.
If the one of us that fights him loses, you are the only one who knows anyone here that could help after that.
No, you also met Thistle.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
And Cal likes you. He'll help you out too.
I can't sit and watch. I won't be able to just watch you fight him. And he has a big sword, and he's going to spend all of his time in close.
I do not have a big sword, but I do have a sword. And how would he know? Like, surely we can just both fight him. Like, you do the hits and I do the other things, like spells and stuff.
So you're saying that I tell him me and you help?
Yeah.
Oh. I feel like this story is going to be prepared to not let that work, but we can totally try.
Oh. Do you think he would clarify his question?
We can ask, but I think he's used almost all the words he's got for now.
Oh. A foe is a person you're against, right? There's not like
Yes.
another. Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we ask you questions? That wasn't a happy sigh.
Nope. We fight together.
There you go. No question, just statement. Yeah.
Then you do not abide the challenge you issued.
Could you clarify what challenge we issued?
You struck the shield. A
Mm.
blow struck the shield is a challenge made.
If I strike the shield, then would we both have made the challenge?
You would then have each made the challenge.
Uh-oh.
Well, since I'm the one that blew it, I guess
Okay,
it's me.
I need you to not kill Pog.
I'm Pog.
Right, yeah. We just... Do you think he would just give us a Snicker-snack and then we can head out?
That's really all we're here for. We need your sword, and just to borrow it, I super don't want to keep it. If we could just use it. Or
You may claim it.
yeah, okay. All right, it's me, Shade.
Okay, well, I'm going to heal you more. For 21 this time.
Let's go.
And then, I mean, one more, right? Yeah.
No, I'm full. That's full.
Oh, that's full? Okay.
Yeah, that got me there.
I haven't done this a whole lot, but this feels appropriate. I would like to give you guidance.
I don't know what that does, but I will take it.
I'm reading it right
D4.
now, so I can tell you. Yeah, there you go.
Let's you roll an extra
knows.
D4 on a skill check.
Got it. Okay. It's me.
Does being stealthy help you in this? I don't think so. Because he can see.
Yeah, we're kind
you.
of face to face.
Right. I think you could just trying to see if there's something I can help you with. I think that's...
I so appreciate the restraint Philip has had on 3 separate occasions been about to strike the first attack, and he's gone, nope, Casey gets a moment.
Sorry, thank you. Okay. I give him a hug.
Pog returns
Be
it.
careful. Please be careful. Or hit him harder.
Not
you
yet.
were good at that.
Not yet, I haven't been.
That's true. Beat him! And then she just walks away.
A blow ye shall give, and a blow ye shall receive. That is the pact here made. Wilt thou abide?
I will.
Then strike well, and miss not. And the knight sets the enormous sword on the ground, and then bends down to their knees and leans over the stone slab in the center of the ring.
Oh, no. Okay. Boy. All right, then with the axe out, it's going to light up on fire, and we are gonna swing down.
Okay.
I hate it.
You have advantage.
Oh God, I need it. I'm gonna spin the inspiration I just got.
Okay. You have advantage on the inspiration roll.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And you can push.
I'm going to. This is crazy.
Okay.
Are you seeing those, Casey? I am quivering from how bad those are.
Oh, I'm on the wrong page.
There we go. Okay. It's a 25.
Okay. What was the sequence of rolls, just for the amusement of the audience at your misfortune?
If they're amused, they hate me. It was a 3, a 5, a 4, a 4, and a 5.
Wow.
Before an 18.
Okay. You heave your axe up and bring it down with enormous strength, and the helmed head of the knight rolls on the ground among the stones. The knight stands up.
Yeah.
Gross. I hate this so much. I hate it more.
Walks over and picks up the head and helm and brings them back up and replaces it on their shoulders. Now abide thy pact or be shown honorless. And the knight picks up the sword and slowly draws it from the sheath. And as it draws, there is this sound. The blade is covered in runes and spiraling patterns. It looks very old and intensely sharp.
Well, Pog kneels down in front of the slab, turns to Shade. This is not how I thought this goes. And Pug holds the axe with the head down and leans his head over.
The knight stands at the side of the slab and brings the sword up. The sword catches light for a moment and glows a slight green, and then comes down with a whistling sound as it slices through the air and straight through Pog's neck and cleaves into the stone. Pog, make a Constitution saving throw.
Shade screams.
21.
Pog kneels without flinching as the blade passes through his neck. And Pog, you are looking down at the sword, and you can feel something warm running down your neck.
Looking down and seeing the blade, going to follow the length of it up, assuming I have control of my body.
You do?
Turning and looking up the blade to see the helm.
The knight takes a step back and brings the sword up, lays the tip of the sword against the ground, and rests their huge hands on the pommel. Thou art a knight of honor. Ask thou a boon, it shall not be refused.
Pog stands.
Shade, Pog is bleeding. There is a cut that seems to go like along the back of his neck and around to the sides, and there is blood flowing from it.
Pog stands and says, I need your sword.
The knight nods, reaches down and picks up the sheath of the sword and slides the sword back in, and then holds it out to you.
At frame of reference, how much am I bleeding? This is substantial, I'm assuming.
Yes. Yeah, you feel pretty substantially wounded.
Pog is going to take the blade. If I have the strength for this, is going to take the blade and as he takes it from his hand, give the weakest of fist bumps against the hand there, and then turn and go, we got it, and then pass out.
If nothing's stopping her, Shade is... I mean, as soon as seeing the blood, like sprinting towards him.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll cast Cure Wounds.
Okay.
For a whopping 9 on him. To see if that helps the bleeding at all.
The bleeding stops, and you can see a very distinctive, light and thick scar running around Pog, the base of Pog's neck.
She shakes Pog. Pog, are you okay? Pog!
It's probably going to take a second because that was a whole lot. So that's like a stress faint and a blood loss at the same time.
She casts Cure Wounds again.
I'll say that's my my
For
EpiPen.
6.
It's still on, right?
It's on. It's on, but you have a scar. I mean, it looks super, super cool.
But it's on?
But it's, they're attached.
Pog
Your head.
grabs Shade and just hugs her and starts to cry. That was done. That was done. That was it. That was done.
That was awful, and you were so very brave. I would not have been able to do that.
Can we go? I'm done. I'm done here. And then to his knees, and then up. It's got all my brave here. I can't. I can't.
That was a lot of brave. That was so much brave. Yeah, we're gonna go now. You have the sword. Good job.
Yep.
Good job. Okay. Shade is leading their little
merry band
foursome to the stones.
About 50 steps away, Pog's gonna turn back and see if the knight is still there.
The knight is standing by the stone, and the stone is shiny and dark with blood.
I feel so much better than all of the blood that I left back there. I don't... I didn't think we were ready, and I was less that than I thought.
I honestly don't understand what happened. I don't understand this place. We're gonna keep going that way. Are you okay? That's a stupid question.
As we get to, there's going to be a silence and a non-answer until we get like to the portal, and then I'll stop Shade and say, I am okay. I'm good. I'm good.
Shade eyes him and would like to roll insight.
Sure.
For 19. Do I believe that Pog is good?
You do.
Pog. Yeah.
Pog seems the most genuinely confident. Quiet confident instead of the loud bluster of normal.
I'm glad. I'm sorry that happened.
But what's the worst that can happen now?
Your head falls off and it's tied to a tree.
I think we passed that part.
I didn't know that was a thing that could happen, though.
I don't think it happens to people who keep their word. I think it happens to people that don't.
Well, he said you were honorable, and you are. You're very honorable. But it is really scary letting people make their own decisions. I mean, not as scary as someone swinging a sword to your head. Like, I'm not comparing.
Different kind of
that.
Scary. Different scary. Not less. Different.
You're a good person, Pog. You said the thing, and then you did the thing that you said.
Pog drops his head, takes a deep breath, and bad Philip. Pog lowers his head, and then one single tear drops from the front, and he says, "Thank you, Shade. I want to be." I think, and he looks up at her, I think I just faced the darkness for the first time.
Whoa.
And I feel like the light. We should go get River. Because we can.
Okay.
How did it go?
We're not gonna still be here.
You can see that Thistle has clearly been sort of rooting around at the base of the various trees around the edges of the clearing, seemingly oblivious to the goings-on down in the hollow, and has equipped herself with a stick with a thorn tied to it with a bit of bark, and a largish nut shell is set on her head as a helmet, and she's found like a little piece of shell that she's got on her arm, and she flutters over and lands on Cal, between Cal's shoulder blades again, and sits up.
I want you to know you look cooler than almost anything I've ever seen.
Thank you.
We're ready to go now.
Oh, good. I see you have a Snicker-snack.
Okay.
Let's go.
We do. Agreed.
You step back through the standing stones and are once again in the twilight of the Feywild. And Thistle begins leading you back along the way toward the, presumably towards the Forest Queen, as you go, and just riding along on Cal, with her wings folded behind her, and looking around, and a couple of times she menaces at a dragonfly with her spear, and otherwise occasionally whispers something in Sylvan, and Cal shifts directions and proceeds in this way.
Cal is the greatest for going along with this in this moment. As we walk, I'd like to take the blade out of the sheath and see if those runes reorient like the shield did.
There is the same sound as you draw the blade again. As you look at the blade, the runes do seem to swirl slowly and resolve. And along one side of the blade, it says, "Who lives in falsehood slays his soul." And on the other side it says, "Whose speech is false, his honor."
I'll show that to Shade so that we are same page here and understanding what the process was we just went through.
Shade, you can read it, but the words don't have to, the letters don't have to resolve because it is in Sylvan.
Ooh. As we're walking and as this is happening, Shade just keeps an eye on Pog.
Focused. Even with the shade eye, you just see focused. And, spinning the sword, getting a feel of the weight of it, and then offering it to Shade if she can carry it. It's a great sword, right?
It is extremely well balanced, and flows very nicely when you spin it. And it has the extremely, in our world, unrealistic action movie reality of as you spin it, it goes
oh yeah
through the air.
Awesome.
And there's just the slightest leftover after ringing sound when you stop swinging it as the blade stops reverberating. Eventually, Thistle returns you to the ring between the two trees. Oh, good. We made it back.
I get a little worried every time it surprises you that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I never know how long it's going to take.
So it's when, not
Same.
If. It's when, and it's what will happen along the way.
Okay. I feel less nervous about that now.
That's
the same as
It does feel like a lot of our journeys.
And we've spent a lot less time starting a journey this time.
Well, that's good.
Shall we?
I think so.
Yeah. Let's go.
Walking through.
You find yourself once again in the Forest Queen's Hall. There is, again, a feast and revelry going on up and down the hall with animals and elves and kitsune and various other fey creatures, all about the Forest Queen. And at the end, on her throne, sits the Queen. Once again, the guard steps up, seeing you, and you see his head tilt slightly as he looks at you, Pog, and then he just offers a nod and steps aside.
Pog will nod in return with the somber nod, and then start our walk up towards the Queen.
She rises and comes down the dais a little bit as the two of you approach and says, "You return with the sword?
We do.
Good fortune to you then."
Pog did it.
We did it.
You see that he bears the mark.
That'll be the first time Pog reaches up to touch the scar.
You can feel it.
And it's all the way around, just up to the front, or all the way across?
All the way around.
It'll be a brief touch.
Are you still resolved? Will you slay the Jabberwock?
I mean, if that's what we need to do to get to the Laughing Lord.
I can open a way into his realm. And I will do this if you will slay the Jabberwock and drive it from out of my domain.
Are those two possible outcomes, Your Majesty, or is that the same thing? I just want to know exactly what we're doing. Do we get it out or do we kill it?
That's a good question.
And does killing it get it out?
It should be slain. To drive it into any other story would be dangerous.
Okay.
If you are resolved, you should rest.
Just to clarify, this sword that Pog got makes it more equal?
This sword is one that can slay the Jabberwock. The beast must still be fought.
Right. Okay. Yeah, Pog, you should sleep. We should sleep before fighting the monster.
You will not find that you need sleep, but food and drink will help.
I could eat. I feel pretty good, but maybe a meal before would be good.
Yeah, y'all haven't eaten since dinner. And you have exactly no idea how long that was.
I was going to say, what kind of Narnia time frame are we working on here?
We just measure in events. We haven't eaten since the Green Knight and the Tum Tum trees.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, then looking around for direction to fix a plate.
Right.
The Queen gestures, and you can see that there is a 2 tables run up the sides of the hall that's formed by these trees, along just the inside edge of the trees. Down the center aisle, in the very midst of the whole place, there is a huge there's a huge fire now of many different colors, not just the yellows and oranges that you know, but greens and blues at the edges of the flames, with silver sparks going up towards the roof. And at the end near the Queen's dais, there is a smaller table that runs perpendicular to the other tables, you can, and as you turn in that direction, a pair of the Queen's people set chairs at it for the two of you.
To there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
As soon as you sit, two large wooden carved goblets are set in front of you, filled with drink, and there is just a huge amount of food piled all along the table. The Queen comes and sits across from the two of you at the table, and just sort of casually takes a little bit of food and feeds it to one of the animals that clusters around her wherever she goes.
That's awesome.
This food will restore you. You will not find a need for sleep in this place.
Thank you.
That's amazing. And it's delicious, too. I assume.
It is. Yes, it's perhaps the best food you've ever eaten.
I would imagine so. Sorry, ship's cat, but Ari's bacon is good and all, but
yeah, no, it's definitely better than that.
I'm offering my plate to Cal next to me.
Cal
take a couple of bites,
eagerly,
offer it.
Very eagerly eats from your plate.
I steal
Queen
glances
looks
at the
across.
Queen, but I do not look at her directly.
The Queen looks over at Cal and says, "Is he Phelost as well?"
I don't know what he is Fae, and I found him.
But not here.
No, he was in a cage.
There is the first time that you have seen something different in the Queen's face. There is very briefly, it's not subtle either. There is very briefly just a sudden, wild rage that flashes across her face and then composes itself. And you freed him.
I did. He shouldn't have been in a cage. Neither should the other animals. And so, well, it's a pretty good story.
We do love
But
a good
Pog
story
and I
here.
freed them. And if
The Queen smiles and just lifts up a hand, and the hall goes still. And she says, "Gallants, our guests have a tale of daring do." And all up and down, there's and all eyes turn expectantly toward the two of you.
Pog's eyes turn expectantly toward Shade as well, eating off of a giant leg of something, or vegetable equivalent of leg of something.
No, there's meat here, and no one
Okay.
seems to mind. But yeah.
I am going to okay.
Performance check. Hey, let's go.
I rolled a performance check to see whether or not she told the story well.
And a
It was
17.
on the 3, and it rolled, tipped over to
Nice.
the 17. So
Nice.
That's awesome.
Feeling her moment to say good things about herself in front of the queen, she will take this opportunity to tell this tale, giving due credit to Pog as well.
Pog
but
is
it
going
is
to
one
act
of her.
surprised every time his name is said.
As you tell the tale, you notice that you are lit from above, and there are 4 sort of will-o-wisp lights floating around you, following you as you move, and shifting colors with the tone of the story as you tell it. And as you come to the end, there is raucous appreciation from all along the boards, and one of the Fey Knights stands up and says, "A cheer for the champion, Kalu, Kalu, Kalay, Kalu, Kalu, Kalay!" And the whole crowd sort of reverberates with this up and down, and someone passes you more to drink. You dine, you feast, and you don't know how long you feast.
Subtle fist bump to Pog.
You don't know how long you feast, but you feel entirely refreshed. Both of you gain the benefits of a long rest.
Huzzah.
And Shade, you gain inspiration for telling an amazing story.
Ooh.
And at last, the queen says, "Here in my hall it is unusual that revels should needs must end. But there is an enemy to be slain. Have care, you are well armed to face this foe, but he is a manxome one. So have care."
If we do defeat the Jabberwock, can you give us any idea of how to not get ran in circles afterwards and what we should look for to find the Laughing Lord?
If you can slay the Jabberwock, I will open a path into his domain. And you need not contend with the challenging nature of my realm.
Because the next time we see you will be if we have defeated the Jabberwock, thank you for helping us to this point.
You reached here. You claimed the sword. The courage and effort have been yours.
Shade?
Pog.
I guess we do
Fight
this.
a Jabberwock for a river.
Pog pushes his chair back, scruffs Cal on the head, and stands and then tries to figure out how the bow thing worked for her. And then turns to go.
Yeah, she stands up and utters a thank you. They all feel insignificant, but a thank you is what she has to offer, and turns around and asks Thistle, are you gonna come?
I can get you back to the Toves.
Okay. Let's go
stay
slay
with us as long as
Jabberwock.
you'd like, Thistle.
Thank you.
And yeah, I guess so.
I haven't had friends since the last time I had friends.
Don't ask, Shade. Don't ask for that story. Do not ask for that story. Huh.
Same.
And you depart out of the Forest Queen's Hall and back into the Feywild. And that is where we will pick up next time.
Yeah, I know. The theater kid in me is like, I want to just stay here and have Philip tell me about it forever. Are you kidding me with like color changing lights coming from the trees? Come on, man.
Thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this, please let us know in comments down below. And you can get in touch with us at all the links below, including to our Discord. And you will find a link to Colin's Twitch, where he is sorry BTR. The O is 0. New episodes of Khyber Shards drop every Monday. New Khyber Shards answers every Friday. And until next time, thanks for rolling with us.